Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, now that we've got this mostly cleaned up, I want to flush out this cylinder. Mineral spirits takes the oil out of my hands and makes them crack. Dries them right out, makes them crack. So I wear rubber gloves. Some people think that that's silly, that I shouldn't be worried about it, but it's not their hands. They're mine. Kind of like I'm not hurting. Taken to cutting up my Scotch-Brite pads into little pieces. When I have them in a big piece, they ended up all wadded, and then I'd lose half the Scotch-Brite pad. This way, this little bit doesn't get wadded up, and even if it does, I can toss this out and not feel any pain at all. Throwing away a whole sheet, you know, the price of everything's going up. We all know that. So I like to stretch things as far as I can. Old Sneelock's budget notoriously $10 a day. And most times, $10 a day would get us by. I mean, I'd be able to buy $70 worth of stuff every week. But now, $70 worth of stuff only gets me 35 bucks worth. So I have to stretch things pretty hard. And I honestly never have spent $70 in one day on something for the shop. An old tool. I may buy a new tool and have to float it out over several months. But mostly those come from presents. Christmas, holidays, I ask for tools. Because I know that I could eat a jar of nuts in a day's time. Maybe stretch it out for a week. But a crescent wrench, I've still got crescent wrenches that I had when I was 12 years old. They used to belong to my dad. They weren't really mine when I was 12, but I treated them like they were. '65 Ford asked me if I had replaced this leather. And no, I hadn't. I don't see any reason to do it. The leather is holding up well. The only thing I did with it is when I started using the pump to try and make pressure, I put some oil in it. And you saw me cleaning the oil out. Now, something I'm going to talk about here. Leather has two sides, the inner and the outer. I think I mentioned before that I thought that the rough part was the inner. Well, the rough part is actually the outer. That's where the hair is. And the smooth part is the inner. Well, on this one, they put the smooth part inside. so that that doesn't rub against the surface of the cylinder wall. Now, I had intentions of taking the leather off just because it's got so much junk underneath it, but from looking at it, it looks like it's riveted. Now I probably could go through and knock the rivets out, and re-rivet it again, but I think that's borrowing trouble I don't need. This cup, which looks to be the factory unit because these rivets are the original deal. They're not something somebody stuck in there out of the pop rivet box. They're regular old staked out rivets. So this cup is the original, and if it's holding up that well, and all that's gotten wrong with it is it picked up a bunch of dust from sitting around for 110 years. Yeah, this was patented in 1910. Now that means it could be, you know, built anywhere up to the 1960s, but I don't think this company was making bicycle tires or automobile pumps, running board pumps for reinflating tires in the 50s. This looks like something from maybe 20s, which would mean it was 100 years old. Just guessing on that, but that's my best guess. This thing is ancient. Still in good shape. This casting had a defect. Actually, where the gate went into the casting, and the casting has a wide enough lip that that little bit of defect there, that little bit of a ripple, really didn't have much effect on it at all as far as working. But it wasn't a pretty thing. And since the cylinder was set up to only go on one direction, they wanted to have this hole on the top where it was easily accessible. All they did was make sure that that gate was on the bottom, so it just never showed up. There. There's a screw on either side that locks this cap onto the barrel. This barrel is pressed into the base, and I thought I could turn it, but it's locked in there. I'm not sure exactly how it is locked in. I don't want to break anything because this is irreplaceable. If I damage it to the point where it doesn't work, it's just not ever going to work. Now, I probably can go through and do a lot of crazy stuff. You know, this plane I took a plane that was broke in 3 places and silver soldered it back up and made it work. I was able to do that, but do I want to all the time? No. If I can not break something to start with, that's a much better plan. So, now this is all cleaned up. I'll give the little screws, which are in the bottom of the pan, a little bit of a cleanup. One nice thing about putting things in a metal pan like that, I don't know if you've ever seen Dan Hurd's channel where he goes gold prospecting. If not, that would be a good place to go look. It's an interesting process. And when he's panning for gold, it reminds me of me looking for little screws in the bottom of the pan. He just swirled it around and let it gradually appear out of the muck. And there is the bits and pieces. There's the little ball bearing. There. Clean and reassemble. Oh, you know what I forgot? I bet you get it on the first try. I bet you were screaming at the camera. Where's the check valve, Dave? In the meantime, if you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.